welcome to another episode of Trek in the Valley.
Hi, hello.
I am Adam Ordall Quinnell.
And I'm Al Hirt.
Yep, we are here again in the sunny San Fernando Valley, the somewhat overcast San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, it's a little gruesome here, a little dim right now. But
It's been raining. I think I left my car window rolled down last night. I just said,
shit.
fuck it. I didn't even go out to check. I was like, what am I doing at this point? This doesn't matter. None of this matters. So we are here. This is the 13th, lucky 13th episode.
Yes, appropriate.
Of Trek in the Valley. We're here to talk about, if you're new to the show, welcome.
Welcome, hello.
We are two dudes in the San Fernando Valley, and we talk about Star Trek, the original series.
We just kind of cover it, do our takes on it, see what else we can reap from this show.
We literally just talk about the episode. We kind of recap it and chat about it. It's pretty easy to understand. We have a Star Trek compendium that Al found at a thrift store that we go to as our outdated source of knowledge. I don't really Google anything.
It's pretty off the cuff here.
Yeah, and we've got the IMDb up because there's some great guest performances in this episode, and of course, let's just get right into it. The episode that we're talking about today, very important episode of Star Trek: The Original Series. It is episode number 14 of the original series. Hold on, let me check. Let me make sure.
Called Balance of Terror.
Balance of Terror. And it is episode. Actually, it's episode episode 14 of the original series.
Yep.
And Balance of Terror. It's a fantastic episode. It's our first look at one of the Federation's major enemies that they're going to be dealing with throughout Next Generation and beyond. This is the first episode featuring the Romulans. We get a lot of very interesting history of the Romulans and the Federation and the conflict that has kind of been sitting dormant for 100 years.
It's kind of like the first super weapon we see too, like things just blowing up with a big red orb.
Yes, it is definitely it is the first super weapon. And so this episode is called Balance of Terror. It aired on December 15th, 1966. The synopsis from Paramount Plus is after attacking an outpost, Romulans battle the Enterprise. That's it.
That's very straightforward.
I love how concise the Paramount
really
Plus synopsises are. I love it. And that's exactly what happens after attacking an outpost. Romulans battle the Enterprise. There you go.
Yeah, this is the first time we see a Federation kind of do Federation thing. Like we see an actual quote unquote, our characters go to an actual outpost / base.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't just them going off on their own, doing their own thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's it really makes it feel like the Enterprise is part of like a larger thing. Yeah.
That's refreshing.
Exactly. I don't even think they call it the Federation. They just call it like the home office or the command center.
Centers, yeah.
Command. And also Chekhov check-in. We're 16 episodes away from the amazing wigs of Walter Koenig. Very much looking forward to that. This episode is interesting because it's really like a captain's battle.
It's very mental.
You see Kirk is like facing down basically the Romulan Kirk. You know, it's like the two flagships of the fleets have to face each other. And it starts actually with a wedding. And this gets referenced later as well. I believe. I guess
that's the only B plot, right? I was just gonna say it's all A plot, but the B plot's them getting married, I guess.
Yeah. So there are two ship crew members that are getting married, man and a woman, and Kirk is about to officiate the wedding. Yeah, Kirk's going to officiate their wedding because just like back in the days of like wooden ships, he's like back in the days of wooden ships and shit. captains could marry their crew members, which I think is interesting because how often would that happen back in like the pirate days and shit? Like how many women
allowed it?
Yeah, how many women were around on the ships for that to happen? But so he's going to marry him, but then there's an emergency. They get a distress call from an outpost. And that's when we get a little bit of background on the neutral zone, which is very interesting.
And that's how Spock does his whole spiel of covering the neutral zone and how it became the B and the Romulans and all that.
Yeah, so very interesting because
it was really good.
Because
that's a thick piece of lore that the show needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember the neutral zone. They talk about it all the time in Next Generation. The neutral zone is a big deal.
Yeah.
So what it is they find out that there's a number of outposts that are built on asteroids along the neutral zone. One of them was like completely destroyed.
There's 7 of them,
There's
right?
Good job remembering that because I had no fucking clue how many there were. But there's 7 outposts, and one of them, outpost 3 or 4, one of them's been exploded, right?
Right.
And so the Enterprise is taken off, and on their way there, Spock gives a little history background on the neutral zone mainly for the audience because everybody in Starfleet should know this.
Yeah.
Kirk does give them a little addendum at the end, but basically what Spock says is 100 years ago, there was a war between Romulans and humans, or Romulans and the Federation.
Yeah, it was a Federation.
It must have been because we didn't have warp-capable ships without the Vulcans. But like they knew that shit now. They had no idea all that stuff was going to become history.
So interesting how they like pull this off, though.
Yeah. So there's a war, and this is what I find where it's hard to suspend disbelief.
Adam paused and brought a good question.
They say they fought this whole war with the Romulans, and because they were in primitive spacefaring ships, they didn't have view screens. So the whole war was fought without view screens, and then they somehow negotiated a treaty and set up the neutral zone all without view screens because they say we have no idea what Romulans look like and they have no idea what we look like. And that's fucking insane.
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind too. I think it was like a good big, I guess like his big thesis too of this episode and when I was reading in the compendium is like, it's all about prejudice. It's all about prejudice. It's like these two groups of people that hate each other so much don't even know what they look like at this point or at all.
Yes, that's a fine
they're just
idea.
Attacking each other. It just doesn't make any sense in terms of like
the mechanics of war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you'd think that at some point during a war, you would happen upon like a ship that you shot down on some fucking moon and you'd go look at it and you'd kick the Romulan body and you'd be like, hey, look at this dead fucking Romulan. Now we know what they look like.
For the sakes of tactics, just to take their ship and look at it, see what it looks like, what they do.
Yeah. Battlestar Galactica, they figure out what they try and figure out the Cylon's fucking deal, basically. They aren't like, oh, we gotta just shoot them all. It doesn't make any sense.
I think the excuse though is that like they had primitive ships, therefore, but at the same time, I don't know.
At one point you're gonna shoot down one of those primitive ships and you're gonna go look through the wreckage and find a dead ass Romulan, or vice versa. I got no love for the Federation at this point. Like I'm sure Romulans shot down Federation vessels, they would have saw them. But
the fact that they write everything down but this, you know?
Yeah. So he explains the neutral zone, and then Kirk is like, but what you don't know is that my orders on this are very clear. We're not going to start a war. We can't cross into the neutral zone, you know? And so basically, the Enterprise shows up at one of the next I think
they see the outpost get shot.
So they get there.
Once,
is that when they see
go, and then they see the guy get blown up.
So they're on their way to this outpost that was not quite destroyed, I guess. And they get on the view screen, and there's like one guy, and he's a mile deep in an asteroid, and his face is all fucked up, and he's just like, what a great character actor. He's really hamming it up. He really
does his best.
Oh, they came out of the sky, and it was like... It's like a goddamn, and they blew us up.
One of the best lines, though, is Kirk's like, can you identify what attacked you? And he's like, yeah, it was a space vessel.
Yeah, it was like,
Good thing they're in space.
Yeah, we
what
thought it was gonna be a fucking. We thought it was gonna be a Jeep Cherokee, a Jeep Grand Cherokee with a rocket launcher on top. So they get to this place.
A lot of good lines.
And then, so the Enterprise is talking to this guy as this Romulan ship uses a new energy weapon to like blow up the base because the Enterprise can't get there in time to stop it. So the Romulan vessel blows up the base and leaves. The Enterprise gets there. They're investigating stuff. And the interesting thing is one of the Mr. What's his name? Mr. Styles, who's like a navigator. They're talking about Romulans after they think this was Romulans, and Kirk goes, "We don't even know what they look like." And Mr. Styles is like, "Their ship is painted like a big bird of prey." And Kirk is like, "I didn't realize history was your fucking deal, Mr. Styles." And Mr. Styles is like, "Family history. My family was killed by Romulans 100 years ago, I guess." So he's talking about like his great. This is like a story that's like been handed down of Romulans that it's fucking stupid.
But the Federation just didn't know.
And the Federation didn't. Well, the Federation didn't tell anybody. Like
they have view screens.
Yeah, they didn't know what they looked like. There was no view screens, therefore, and also no eyes. Nobody had any eyes. But so that and so this guy is a problem. It's not a B story. It's all kind of enmeshed in the. All enmeshed in the main story. But Mr. Styles really goes on an emotional ride because they hijack a signal from the Romulan ship.
Right, and then
it piggybacks on it. And Spock decodes it, and they get a visual from the bridge,
right? The bridge
of the Romulan ship. And we see, Romulans look like Vulcans.
Yeah, he turns around, the captain, and it's like, dun, dun, dun.
And then it shows Spock, and then it shows Mr. Styles, and Mr. Styles like stares at Spock. And I'm pulling it up right now on my own little view screen here.
Oh my gosh, it was so weird.
It was so good because here it is. So they. And the Romulans are dressed like they look kind of like, oh, there he is. We see the captain of the Romulan ship.
They kind of have like the same eyeliner makeup too.
Yeah, he looks like a Vulcan.
Yeah,
like a grumpier Vulcan. And then Mr. Styles like looks at Spock, and Spock's got like a smug look on his face, like, oh shit, that's weird. And Mr. Styles' jaw drops, and they go to commercial. So, the best part about that, and the best part about that is when it comes back from commercial, the look on Spock's face. He's definitely like Spock doesn't have emotions, right? But he's definitely trying to downplay the fact that their ancient villains look like him. He's kind of got a look. He's got a look on his face. It's like, well, that was, that was weird, right? That was. Here he is.
He's just trying to move on from it.
Yeah. Oh,
that's so awkward, though.
Enterprise. We're watching this little clip. Everybody's staring at Spock. Even Sulu is frowning at him.
And his back is turned.
He turns back to them. And he's like, "Ooh, well."
I kind of get the implication that they're trying to do, but it just seems silly because it's like he's on the bridge. Like he clearly hasn't done anything bad.
Well,
they're just inherently suspicious.
They just now that they know that Romulans.
Oh, because no. The reason why is because they already accused they brought the idea of that there was Romulan spies on the Enterprise.
Well, yeah, and that's something we forgot to mention. They were talking about they had to be silent and not communicate because there might be spies on the Enterprise sending transmissions out.
Which is pretty early to for 100 years, you know.
And then in the next shot, they show that the Romulans look like Spock. And let's talk for just a second about the Romulans, what they look like.
Their costumes, their uniforms.
Costumes, they have like a half sweater. It looks like chainmail, and it's like they've got like a gold by rank. They've got like either a gold chest or a
it's like
red.
A sash. Yeah.
It's like they've got like a knit sash. It looks like, and then and they have these it's funny that they have like Romany looking helmets,
Like
kind
football
of.
helmets, though, like those 1950 ones.
They look like football helmets from the 30s or
In the 30s,
40s,
40s. And they just sprayed gold on them.
and they just sprayed them with gold. Yeah,
It
and
looks good, though.
it looks like a great sci-fi villain, and they made the costumes distinct enough from the Federation costumes, and that's always important when they introduce like other
Oh,
humanoid.
God, it'd be way too confusing otherwise.
Well, I mean, when they introduce other humanoid races, they really got to play up. They really got to figure out how they're going to do the costumes. And I think this time it really worked out.
Super important, too. But
Yeah.
Also, just even the relationship that the captain, the commander, the Romulan commander has with the second in command, it's like almost hand in hand with Spock.
Yes.
And how they have their conversations with Kirk.
We see so many parallels between
Really, really good, yeah.
Spock and Kirk, and the Centurion is the name of the first officer.
Yes.
Or that's what they call him. And let me see, who's this actor? It's the actor that plays the Romulan captain. Oh, they don't even name him. He's just Romulan commander. That's Mark Leonard.
Mark Leonard.
And then where is he? Oh yeah, John Warburton plays the Centurion, but Mark Leonard has a fantastic history ahead of him too.
Yeah.
So first off, his performance is fucking great. Like, it really made me think there could be another series about a Romulan captain on adventures on the other end of the neutral zone. It really opens up this. It really makes it seem, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, that it really makes the universe feel a lot bigger.
Finally, dude. I think, like, what, it is 13 episodes, right?
13 episodes. And I guess the menagerie showed that there were other beings far away and whatnot, but
it's starting to get serious. Like this, I was just telling you at the beginning before we recorded, like, this was all really tense, and like as soon as that first outpost blows up, they're all like, "Oh, we could actually die!" Like,
and they could start a war. That's something else.
The bigger one, yeah.
So they've got to decide. So here's the crux, and we'll get into cloaking in a second, because we didn't even talk about the fact that the Romulan ship cloaks. Yeah. So what's happening is, the Romulans think, now that they've blown up this outpost so easily with their new weapon, they've got this data that shows that the Federation is weak to this weapon. And they're going to take it into the neutral zone. They know this weakness. They're going to outfit all their ships with these weapons. They're going to come back and destroy the Federation, right? And Kirk's he's either got to kill the Romulans, which would start a war, because the Romulans could say, hey, we weren't doing anything wrong and you violated the treaty. But basically, he's got to get them before they get back to the neutral zone. If he can kill them on this side of the neutral zone,
they could prove.
They can show, hey, actually you did.
Stance,
yeah, which is weird because there's no mechanism for that.
Like,
they've never seen these people.
Wouldn't the ruined asteroid already be proof enough, though, and like the destroyed outpost?
Also, they've never seen these motherfuckers. Who are they going to report it to? So who's the war going to start? Pictures. They're not. It's Who are they going to? They could. The Romulans could just say,
they'll look at their ship.
Yeah, there's no. They don't communicate with the Romulans, so none of that shit actually matters.
That paint job's pretty dope, though.
Yes. Oh man. The bird of prey, when they do show the Romulan ship, and in the HD remaster of the that we watch on Paramount Plus, all of the Romulan ship stuff looked fucking awesome.
Oh, it looks great.
The bird of prey painted on the bottom of the ship is great. It's interesting that their bird of prey looks exactly like a bird of prey from Earth. But you'd think that would be something that would unite them. Like, hey, we've seen birds that look like that. It doesn't look like a space bird or anything. And cloaking. So the Romulan ship can cloak. This is very important. Cloaking becomes a huge part of Star Trek stuff.
That's pretty cool, though,
in the future. Time we see it. It's very interesting because like Klingons have cloaking devices in the future, and the Federation refuses to use cloaking. It's outlawed because it seems like a tool of war and espionage, and the Federation tries to be above that.
It's clever how they handle it in this episode too.
Yes, and how it's like it sets up cloaking stuff that would be referenced forever. Like in this episode, they find out that a ship can't fire when it's cloaked because it uses too much energy to run the cloaking and the phaser at the same time. Right. And that's like the same shit in Next Generation.
And they kind of refer it to as the bending of light too, rather than just being like, "Boop, it's invisible," you know.
Yeah, they kind of explain it a little bit. Spock explains the cloaking
And that like,
technology.
oh, it would take too much energy, but the Romulans clearly figured it out.
They've solved the problem of energy, which is also in their massive.
It makes sense. It's in the future, you know.
Yeah.
Things got to progress.
Which is also their their energy weapon. The weapon that the Romulans use is this super powerful weapon that
That's
just
true.
like blasts this base to nothing that was a mile into an asteroid.
So I'm trying to think, have we had another super weapon or anything in Star Trek before this? Or
I keep getting confused because, okay, so a little background. This is the first episode we've recorded in like a month because we got really far ahead.
Yeah.
So I don't remember anything about what happened in the previous episodes.
I know, I'm
Wasn't
trying to
there like,
piece
was
them
there like the
together.
big space? Was there the space whale thing that destroyed? Was that, or am I thinking of one of the movies?
Maybe it was one of the movies.
See, I
the
don't-
episodes that we've dealt with, it's been like kind of sitcom, you know, where it's like they go to planet X, they meet X people, something strange is going on with these X people. Let's try to figure it out, and then it's like 2 or 3 villains or something.
It's kinda
And then,
like
they split off, they try to figure out their own resolutions, and then the plots come together, and then they leave planet X.
Yes, exactly. And this
That's how
is
a lot
very
of
different.
episodes happen.
This
And then
is
this is like, oh my god, they
So-
just die.
So many of the other episodes have felt like Twilight Zones.
Kind of, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and
for
this
sure.
is more like a
They've been
dramatic.
so upbeat.
This is more of like a drama.
Yeah.
And it is, which is interesting because now we enter this duel, and it's very much like the two ships have to be silent, so it's like a submarine duel, and they're actually referencing a couple of movies from the time. Al, go to the compendium.
Oh yeah, the 2 movies we found that they were referencing was Run Silent, Run Deep, and then the other movie was called The Enemy Below. So I think The Enemy Below, right, that has to do with the ship above water
Yeah,
and then the submarine, right?
Yep, and the ship above water is trying to use sonar and such to like find the submarine and drop depth charges on it.
Oh, okay. And that's kind of what happens in
what
the
they do in
episode,
this,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the ship is the Enterprise above water, and then the Romulan
Or
ship
the cloaked
is the
ship
cloaked
is the
submarine.
yes.
And then, yeah, we see too with the best. I mean, I think the best part is like, other than the crewmate that's like incredibly prejudiced and all that, everyone is just prejudiced against each other except for the captains. The captains are like, oh, that's exactly what I would do if I was getting attacked. Or, oh, this is exactly what I would do if someone did this to me. And then they're both just going back and forth as if like they don't even care who each other is. They're just, someone just wants to win, you know?
They both have different, they're both motivated by such different things, and we see that at the
Yeah.
end, and we'll talk about that at the end when after the conflict, when Kirk is offering to pick up their survivors, we kind of see like the big difference between the two people. But so basically the Romulan ship is cloaked and running from the Enterprise, and the Enterprise is like tracking them using like their wake or something, like their sensors are like capturing the disruption in the space around the cloaked ship.
Yeah, and the way that they were able to do that though was because that guy sent the message, right? With the little signal. And then don't they lock onto that? And that's how they find the ship
so,
the time.
So basically one of the Romulans against the
yeah,
captain's
that shows.
orders sends a message back to Romulan High Command saying that, you know, we did something great. We destroyed this outpost. And he's like, you fool, you shouldn't have done that. They'll know. And
Yeah,
then
they probably-
of course,
he started the whole conflict.
exactly. And that's why
what's great.
And that's why Kirk or Spock was able to pick up that signal that let us see onto the bridge of the Romulan ship and see that they look like Vulcans, right?
Oh wait, so they're chasing them, right? But it's cloaked now, right?
Yeah, so they can't see them, but they know they're there. They can,
Is this when they go to the comet?
yeah.
Yeah.
So then there's a comet. Also, there's just a fucking awesome shot of this comet,
Yeah, it is
man.
really
Oh, I
cool.
love these HD remasters. Honestly, everybody should win a 4K TV at their job like I did. And actually, Al did too.
Yeah, I actually ended up winning one too.
Back-to-back years represent Trek in the Valley, winning TVs at work. But so oh man, that comet looked dope. And we're really seeing that the Romulan captain has such reverence for space and and life, and he sees this and he's like, oh, the beauty of the comet in the darkness. Like, he's such a fucking dope captain, and he's
There's
such a
war happening. Right? They're in a battle, and he's like, look at this nice comet.
And he even talks when he's talking to his first in command, the centurion. He's like, sometimes I wish I would explode before we make it home. And he's basically saying, he said, no, don't worry, I won't do it. But he's basically saying, I'd rather have us die on the way back home than have this war start, because what's going to happen? We're going to get the weakness of the Federation back to high command, and they're going to come and kill all the humans.
That's the other thing. They're both like, I don't know. Do you think Kirk is more like, fuck it, let's just start a war compared to the Romulan captain? Or are they both like, no, we don't want to start
Neither one of them want a war.
Right, of course.
Both, but
it's like they're both compelled to, I guess. By outer forces, right?
Well, no, because and that's what's different, right? So we know that the Romulans probably want a war, right?
For sure.
But they really paint the
Captain
Federation.
Didn't even want the war, though. That's
exactly.
the best part.
Because he's been in it for a long time. He sees how futile it is, right?
And he was talking about going home like 2 hours before they got shot at.
Yeah, they're excited.
Really sad.
They were heading back to the neutral zone, and then they got that one idiot sent a signal saying, hey, we blew up this outpost, and gave them away. And I just really like that you see that the command, the Starfleet command, whatever they call them in this, they basically let Kirk just decide. They're like, we're going to put it in your hands, Kirk. If you want to start a war and you think it's time to go to war, fine, do it. And they really saddle all this pressure on him. And he actually has there's like a great moment of doubt when they've been silent for like 9 hours, right? And playing this waiting game, waiting for one of the ships to make a sound so that they know where they are, submarine
they have like
style.
A senior staff meeting, right?
Yeah, they have the senior staff meeting earlier. Oh, no.
Or was that during the silence?
They have the senior staff meeting before this and it's determined that they need to attack the Romulans.
Right.
So, and which is interesting because Styles is like, we have to attack. And Styles expects Spock to disagree, and Spock is like, we do have to attack.
Yeah, everyone at the table is
like, but they look like you.
Yeah, they all do the double. That was cool, though.
And Spock explains, look, I suspect that which is interesting because Spock says, I suspect that these Romulans are an offshoot of Vulcans.
Yeah.
Based on only their ears.
What he says.
He's like,
look, if they're like us.
If they're like our dirty,
I don't know.
If they're like our dirty ancestors, they're definitely mean and we got to show strength.
Yeah. He goes, even by Earth standards, it's pretty awful what they do. And it's like,
humans. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, he and we find out a lot more about that.
Leans in on it. It's crazy.
We find out a lot more about that time on Vulcan later. That they had a really savage past, and it was logic. It was the people who came up, the Vulcans who came up, like Sarek. Was Sarek? Somebody. I think Sarek is Spock's dad. That's beside the point. Also, who's played by Mark Leonard. We should talk about that in a minute.
He'll be back.
I started talking about how Mark Leonard, who plays the Romulan commander, has been in all kinds of other Star Trek stuff. He's played a Vulcan, a Romulan, and a Klingon.
Yep.
And he plays Sarek, Spock's dad. Yeah. In like and he's in like the movies and shit too. He's Sarek. He's great.
A veteran. He's a veteran
awesome.
For sure.
Star Trek All-Star. But
for sure.
So they saddle. So then they decide we got to attack the ship, right? So and they're just shooting blind, basically, and they hit it.
Yeah,
they hit around it.
They do.
And that's
lay down
when
a pattern, right?
Yep, they lay down a pattern of fire based on where they think the ship would be. They disrupt the area around the Romulan ship. A big hilarious piece of foam debris falls on the Centurion and kills him. And it is the best piece of foam painted to look like a piece of a ship, and then they have to pretend it's heavy when they move it.
That's pick off the little ends.
I love it in the very dramatic scene to have that kind of sweet propery. And this is what kicks off then the silence. They got to be quiet.
But there's a lot of too though. People jumping around in the bridges of their ships.
Whenever the shots like Nichelle Nichols should get
hard.
Nichelle Nichols should get an Emmy for how she did her bridge
jumps on
shaking
a wall.
acting, the spinning around with her hands above her head.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
I don't want to forget that one of the ways that the Romulan captain tries to throw Kirk off their trail is he sends out a debris field with the Centurion's body in it to make the Enterprise think that they'd been blown up. And Spock is
one
like,
of the best parts.
Spock is like, yes, there's a debris field, but the mass isn't correct.
Yeah, he's like, they put a body in there, but I think they just tossed it, and everyone on the bridge is like, "Whoa!"
And then and that's when they're like, okay, so they're there, so we've got to be quiet, right? And so they're quiet for 9 hours, and man, we really got off on a tangent because I've been trying to talk about Kirk's moment of doubt because he says, because no, don't apologize. This is what podcasts do.
Okay.
This is what people aren't paying for, nor will they ever.
Right.
So Kirk is in his quarters, and Yeoman Rand is like, "Hey, do you want a coffee?" And then she leaves.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And then Bones comes in, and Kirk is like, "What if I'm wrong? I gotta decide about this war. What if we do the wrong thing?" And Bones' reply is great. He says, in this galaxy, there's mathematical probability that in our galaxy there's 300 million Earth-type planets that could potentially support life, and then there's 300 million of galaxies like ours, and in all of that space, there's only one of each of us. Don't destroy the one named Kirk. And I think he's basically saying, hey, don't lose yourself. This is really important, right? Stick to your guns and do the right thing because you could start a war. What he's trying to say, don't ruin your reputation.
Right.
Don't taint your soul by having this war on your conscience, but just you'll do it, And also don't die. Don't die.
I think it's like a longer way of him saying listen to your heart or some BS like that.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of solid lines in this. I was actually going to bring it up too at the very beginning when the Romulan commander's flying around and the Centurion's like, "We can't dilly-dally, we got to get out of here. You're going to be in danger." And he's like, "Danger and I are close old companions." And I was like, that's pretty badass.
He's great. He's great. They really make him a kick-ass enemy captain, And
it's so tense. This whole episode's really tense.
And there's another great line because at one point so Spock accidentally hits a button on the bridge and makes a sound during this moment of silence. And the Romulan captain was hoping that Kirk was gone, right? And then he hears this sound and he knows that Kirk is out there. And because he knew Kirk was out there, but he was hoping he wasn't. And then he says he's a sorcerer, that one, when he's talking about Kirk. I fucking love it. And that's when the Romulans rig up a second debris field. But this time they put a nuke in it, and the Enterprise notices the nuke and pulls away. It explodes, but it damages the Enterprise. It's totally busted, right? Mr. Styles heads down to weapon control, and he's racist to Spock again. But then the Enterprise is playing dead, right? The Enterprise is knocked out, playing dead, and then the one of the fucking Romulans on the bridge of the Romulan ship is like, "We've got him right where we want him. We got to destroy him." And the other captain doesn't want to do it. He's struggling with the fact because he knows he's got such respect for Kirk that he doesn't want to kill him, and he doesn't want them to go to war. And then basically the Enterprise plays dead. The Romulans go to attack. And this is when the Enterprise, they rig up some kind of explosion or charge to drop that will show the location of the cloaked ship for long enough for them to fire. And they get the location of the cloaked ship. They're firing their phaser, and shit doesn't work. Smoke starts shooting. So Spock goes down to check on Styles in the phaser room, and he's like, "Do you need help?" And Styles is like, "We don't need any help from you, Vulcan, you piece of shit." And Spock is like, "Whatever," and he walks out. And then right after Spock walks out, smoke starts coming out of these vents. And then Kirk is like, "Fire! We see the ship, fire!" And he can't fire because of the smoke.
What's going on?
And then Spock sees what's happening and comes back, runs in, saves the guy, fires the phaser. They hobble the Romulan ship, and Spock saves Styles' life. Now here's where we see kind of the difference between the Federation and the Romulans, because Kirk offers to they hail they won. They hail the Romulan ship, and Kirk says, "Hey, let me pick up your wounded." And he says, "We don't do that. We do it differently." And Kirk is like, "Hey, you don't have to." And he says,
"No, we gotta end this."
He's like, "No, we do. There's one last thing I have to do," and it's like blow up his own ship.
Duty, yeah.
Yeah, and he says he's a person of duty, and he says, "I regret that we meet in this way. You and I are of a kind." Kirk, he's talking to Kirk. "In a different reality, I could have called you friend." And then out of duty, the Romulan captain destroys their own ship, and it's great. What a fucking great episode.
So depressing, though. I don't know. It's like at this point, because the Romulans could have won, so I guess it's like, is the commander just suicidal? Is he just working against himself? And now watching the episode, because we've seen it previously before we recorded this, but watching it again, just hearing the commander be like, "Man, I don't even care if we don't get home." Like, that just sounds like super dour now, especially at the beginning, you know? Because, like, he's kind of just, like, foreshadowing, like, what's happening.
And the Centurion even looked surprised when he said that. He was like, I won't do it. But I don't think he was suicidal. I think he was just bested by a better captain.
Oh, he knows he lost.
And he just knows that what Romulan High Command would do to like all their families.
It'd probably be worse if they came back, yeah.
Or if they get captured.
True.
You know?
We don't know that.
Exactly. And because we've never spoken to Romulans or seen them, how does a treaty stay in place for 100 fucking years without anybody making a phone call,
checking on each other?
Yeah, you're not like, "Oh, hey, we got like binoculars and we're like looking at them across the neutral zone." Like, it's fucking ridiculous. It's like if North Vietnamese and South Vietnamese people had never seen each other. Or it had been so long that they don't know what the other looks like, and there's just the demarcation line between the two. No, Korean.
Koreans, you mean, right?
Yes, South Korean, North Korean. I feel bad. Shut up.
Oh, it's just, it goes back to like, and Bones says it's ridiculous too. I mean, I feel like there's so many few people that are like, this war is a little ridiculous. We don't even know what they look like.
Yeah.
And only Bones is the one that brings it up.
Yeah, Bones really is the heart of the ship.
Hey, maybe we shouldn't start a war. And everyone's like, nope, we gotta do it.
Yeah, Bones really is the heart of the crew. A lot of times he's the humanity. He's the soul.
Yeah, but he like comes off like as his tone. He seems like such a jerk.
Well, because
but he's also he's always saying the nice things to do, you know.
And of course he has hilarious. To be gruff when you're the reality on such a crazy when you're the soul of when you're the soul of the ship that's in hell, being constantly plagued by otherworldly things. And as we get to the end of the episode, they put a little button on. Remember, so a couple times throughout the episode, you see the couple that was going to get married.
Oh yeah,
you see them and they're fine. Like, there was an accident and one of them fell over, but they were fine, right? And they're like, oh, nothing bad's gonna happen to them. And then at the end, we find out that when
it's so awful how they bring it up.
Kirk is like, so Bones, how many men did we lose? And he goes, Bones is like, just one. Remember that fucking guy that was going to get married this morning? Oh, no. And so then Kirk goes to comfort the widow Styles. And he basically is like, we got to think that there's a reason for all of this, which is so weird. And she's like, I'm fine. And that's it. Like, that's how it ends. She's like, I'm fine, Captain. And then he exits and like the music plays as he's walking out and it shows the credits. And it was
just abrupt.
We're like, so rough.
What? That's how it ends.
And such a weird abrupt. Like yes, boom. It was abrupt and rough. It was abrupt. And it's just because it's so interesting now that I'm thinking about it. The fact that there was a wedding at play and a marriage, and then also you see the relationship between the two captains. It's just and the relationship between like Styles and Spock, and the relationship between Kirk and Spock, and the relationship between Kirk and Bones. I think they do so much to highlight all like the complexities of the intercharacter shit with this episode.
They earned it because, it's built up from all the previous adventures, right? Especially with, what's the one that stood out to us that we liked? The Children of the Corn episode where Spock and Bones are just like fighting the whole time with each other.
Oh, what's the...
And they have to like come up with a vaccine
name
and stuff.
It's the... Oh my God.
Oh, what a girl... No, wait. No.
What are little girls made of? It's just a lady's name. Oh my gosh. To the listeners. Miri, yes.
Yeah, that's
great
the episode.
Great episode.
Yeah, it's just like moments like that stood out, and then like you're right, it all kind of builds up, which is why I feel like this episode just hits because it's just one plot. It's all serious. We know everyone's relationship with each other, and it's cool to finally see like I guess them engaging sort of a battle where they were kind of matched. Because like you always feel like Kirk wins, or like he's always smart. They always outsmart the bad guy.
Or like in the episode with Ron Howard as the little guy that has the huge ship, like the Enterprise is way overmatched.
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't really seen them just like fighting the Enterprise, like another race's Enterprise.
Yeah.
And they talk about it. The Romulans say we are the flagship, like on the bridge.
Yeah,
so
that's
it is
true.
their
It is
Enterprise.
kind of like an
just
alternate universe.
Yeah, it's a mirror of
Romulans.
it's the mirror of the Enterprise.
I also read too in the compendium that the bridge of the Romulan ship was like an impromptu, like another transporter room that they had on backup.
Oh, definitely.
And then like they had it worked out because, the whole theme of the script being submarines and shit, they're like, oh, it's kind of a huddled like area hallway kind of look. So that works with the submarine too. So.
And they're all looking through little viewfinders that look like when people look through submarine viewfinders.
Yeah.
And
that's what's so good about this, though.
I think it's just fucking fantastic. Probably one of the best episodes we've seen so far. It really plays out. It really got great dramatic performances out of everybody, and the guest cast was awesome. And I do just want to say that it's so funny that the Starfleet Command basically lets Kirk decide, are we going to go to war or not at the end? And he's just like, no. And I got to go comfort the widow, not the widow Styles, the widow of the guy who ran the guns, the phaser guy. The guy who's going to get married. Tomlinson, yes, the widow Tomlinson.
God, it's just so like, yeah, I guess it was the first episode that made it feel like it was a warship rather than like a Federation science spaceship thing.
Yeah, and that becomes a big part of the series.
That's what's cool. Because it's finally like growing,
There are people who disagree about what the role of the Federation is, and that really comes out like in the like Into Darkness, the Star Trek Into Darkness, that like there's people acting within the Federation that want to start a war because they think the Federation should go to war and do war stuff, and that's what they fucking want to do. And so it's very interesting that I love watching the original series now after having watched everything else, even though my memory for this shit is so bad. It's so funny that I'm doing a podcast about it because my memory is so bad for all this stuff I've seen a bunch of times. But I really like it when you see the seeds for all this interesting shit in Deep Space Nine, and like the cloaking where they can't fire when they're cloaked. That becomes a thing with all the Klingon ships. They just really build a foundation for what, the people who pick up the baton, like Brendan Braga and all those people who run with it. And then eventually it gets to, the people who are producing like Discovery and all of the great Star Trek content we have today. So
it's nice. This isn't just like a big CG battle of them just like, pew, pew, pew. They're
actors.
Like, what's happening? What's going on? We need to talk about this. Let's discuss this. And it's like tense.
And there's lots of silence.
Scared.
It's the drama of silence.
Exactly.
And it really makes outer space seem small. Like they have to be quiet because somebody on another fucking spaceship might hear you. And obviously they're very far away. But exactly. And so that's Balance of Terror.
Balance of Terror, yep.
Good job, Al.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I mean, like, there's a lot to talk about in this one, and it was pretty nice that there was just one plot going on,
Yeah, it feels like we really covered it.
From the breaks of the two and then intervening. Yeah. I don't know, it just felt more like a series special episode than just...
It felt more like a play.
Villain of the week,
Like so, and it's funny that I say it felt more like a play.
Of the week.
It's funny that I say it felt more like a play when we just watched Conscience of the King for the previous episode or a previous episode, because like it really it like we mentioned it earlier, but the other episodes, most of the other episodes have felt more akin to like a Twilight Zone, and this felt akin to like a movie of the week, like those submarine movies, like that would be on NBC in the '60s. You know, just so good, and the performances were great.
The second that outpost gets blown up, you could just feel it. Like you feel like, oh, this is definitely more serious. Like the stakes are heavier.
Oh, and we didn't mention that the Enterprise at one point, how they best the Romulans is they find out that the weapon has a limited range.
And I think the Romulans' downfall was just their use of fuel and power, right?
Yeah, they should have just left instead of trying to shoot the weapon again. And
I think that's the whole crux, though, bro, because it's like, I feel really bad for the Romulan commander because he obviously doesn't want to fight them, but then everybody else on the ship is like, you should probably fight them. And then he ends up doing it, but then it's like, now we don't have enough gas to get home.
And we've given away the secret of the weapon that it has this range. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
And so that's Balance of Terror. And so for recommendations for stuff this week, and I know that we're getting closer to being caught up. Like you're probably listening to this episode like 6 weeks after we recorded it instead of 12. But I watched The Peripheral on Amazon Prime. Just finished that season 1. Shit fucking rips. Chloe Grace Moretz is awesome in it. And the whole supporting cast is great. It's based on a William Gibson sci-fi novel from like 2016. He's the guy who wrote Neuromancer and a bunch of other shit. And it's basically about, it's like 2035. Shit ain't great in the world. And there are people who make money testing like VR simulations. And Chloe Grace Moretz is this person who's very good at testing VR sims. Basically, she's like a QA tester.
Yeah.
And she gets a sim to test that actually sends her consciousness forward in time where she's like in a robot body in the future.
So bizarre.
And they get embroiled in this future mystery that has implications on the past. And it's like a really cool, interesting look at time travel. And it's also fairly akin to Loki. Like, you know how, like, so in Peripheral, they call this alternate reality that they open to do, like, tests that they do, they call it a stub. And that's kind of like the branches in Loki that they have to clip before they get too crazy. Anyway, The Peripheral, it's on Amazon Prime, based on a William Gibson novel. Great sci-fi. Check it out. Al, what are you watching, listening to, playing right now?
Let me see. Recommended. Well, there was... what is it? There's a hip-hop producer, Metro Boomin, Heroes versus Villains. Pretty good. He's got like a huge repertoire of people. A celebrity comes on. Morgan Freeman does an intro, which is pretty interesting.
Wow. And this is John his album?
Legend. Yeah. I think it's like his second or third. But it's kind of like an Avengers situation where like he just calls on like all the best and he brings out the best in all those artists. So it's really refreshing that that's happening. It's a little late too, but Adam, he introduced me to Deadwood. I pretty much just ran through that because that was really solid.
Deadwood. Whew.
Jeez, yeah, it's very good. But what was the other thing I was thinking of? I don't know, nothing too crazy that I've seen other than Deadwood and just that other album. But those would be my record.
Yeah, go check it out. What, Heroes and Villains?
Heroes
is the
and
record
Villains,
by
yeah.
What's the guy's name?
Metro Boomin.
Metro Boomin. Heroes and Villains. Oh, it's funny. There's a weed company named Metro Bloomin. But
you might own it.
And then also Peripheral. Check out The Peripheral. And thanks for spending some time talking about Trek in the Valley with us. And we'll see you next week or hear you next week.
Thank you.
You'll hear us next week. That's how this works.
Oh, wait. Did we cover the next episode or no?
Wait. So yeah, do we do that?
Wait. Just
hold on. Wait. Okay, gang. We're going to talk about one more episode. The next episode is Shore Leave. Hello.
Shore Leave.
IMDb says the past 3 months have left the crew of the Enterprise exhausted and in desperate need of a break. But does this explain McCoy's encounter with a human-sized white rabbit or Kirk crossing paths with the prankster who plagued his days at Starfleet Academy? Oh, shit's going to get wacky next week on Trek in the Valley.
Nice refresh from this battle-worn episode.
Exactly. All right, peace out, everybody. Be real. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Trek in the Valley that we probably recorded before we named the podcast or really knew to promote things. You can find out any information about our podcast by following me, Adam, at Adam Quesnell. It's not how you pronounce it, it's how I say it for your benefit. ADAMQUESNELL on Twitter, or at FAQRulesYou at Instagram. Follow. I promote the show. You'll know when and where you can get it on more platforms, so it's on your platform of choice. Thank you so much, and reach out on either of those platforms if you want to tell us anything about the show. Also, I know that we're supposed to say this, like and subscribe, whatever that means. Thanks so much.